So you've purchased yourself a motorhome, and you've decided to pull a vehicle behind it. What vehicle will you choose?
Well, if you choose a 4x4 Jeep Wrangler JK, you've come to the right place, because Cheryl and I are about to do a series on converting this Jeep Wrangler into a Toad.
Ribbit. Ribbit.
Not that kind of Toad. Welcome back to part 4. If you remember at the end of part 3, we showed you when this is connected to the RV and the RV blinkers are on. Stepping on the brake will override what the RV is sending to the rear of the Jeep. Today we're going to fix that. We'll be installing the Roadmaster Brake-Lite relay, part number 88400. Now keep in mind, read the directions, okay? Because they state in there that if you mess this up, you could have some non-warranty issues, meaning the warranty is not going to cover it. And with that being said,
this is not meant to be an instructional video. We are not professionals. We are just Jeep owners attempting to modify our own Jeep. We are not responsible for anyone attempting this modification on their own.
Okay.
the kit comes with everything you see here, and if you're putting it into a Jeep Wrangler, especially a 2017, there's not enough pieces there. You will need at least one more butt connector, and you will need approximately 10 feet of 16 gauge wire. Now the first step, you have to get to the Brake-Lite switch, which is behind this panel. Well, one of these panels. They just pop out, and then you just pull it right out from there. Then you have this panel here. Those are 10mm bolts. Not much torque on them.
I guess not.
And take the bolt out, or drop it. And you just lift up on the panel, pull it back. Now, our switch is going to be right here.
I see it.
All right. And I need to find the wire that is the cold side of the brake switch, meaning that there's no power in it now, the one I'm holding, but when you step on the brake, it will show 12 volts. And we've already done that. We've determined that this was also the wire, because if you go out to roadmaster.com and you look under vehicle spec info, they will tell you that for this vehicle, that is the wire. But you should check it just to be sure too, like we did. Now, after locating the cold side of the brake light switch, what wire you're gonna need, the directions say you need to remove the fuse for the brake lights. So, fuse box is in the engine compartment. Pull in on these two tabs, lift up, pull off, that will expose it. Now, they don't say exactly which fuse to pull, and I went through the whole fuse box, and I have one for the brake lights, and I have one for the brake light switch, which is the wire we're actually gonna cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pull both of them. I'm gonna pull M1, which is a 15 amp fuse, and then I am going to pull M30, where is it? Almost grabbed the wrong one, 37, and then we will verify there's no brake lights. And just to verify that we have no power going back there, I am stepping on the brakes now.
No light.
All right, so you gotta use a screwdriver to kind of loosen up the two slots, and then pull it out. This is the plug we pulled out of the switch. As you can see, these are the tabs that we pushed on. They are plastic. You can see that the screwdriver dug in. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the easiest thing to get out, but it will get out eventually. The wire that we're going to be cutting is on this end right here, the white one with the brown stripe. I'm gonna cut it right here. Do or die now. And then just strip the edges down. One side done. All right, so there's 5 wires on this piece here. The white is going to be your ground. The green and the black are going to attach to either side of the wire that we just cut underneath the dash. The red one will be going out to the fuse box. The blue one, I'm not sure what that does. No, I'm just kidding. If you have push button start, you use that. We do not, so we do not need. You just remove it. Now there's only 4 wires to worry about. This is what they give you to run into your fuse box. It's not going to be enough, considering a fuse box is in the hood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to use it for a future project I intend to do when I put an LED light in the motorhome itself, so I know when the actual brakes are being activated in here. So I'm going to tie this in to this one. Now, the directions say to use a yellow butt connector here, but I put it on, I crushed it, and it fell right off. So we're going to use a blue one because it's smaller, and it should work a lot better than the yellow one just did. Oh yeah, that's much better. All right, then from the harness that came with the kit, you're putting the green one in here. Then you're gonna crimp that down. Eventually.
Squeeze.
All right, that side's hooked up. All right, now the black wire coming out the harness, that's going to attach to the other end of what we cut. So you take the blue butt connector, put it on. Clamp it down. That's good and tight. Okay, so we have it crimped to the other side that we cut. Now we're gonna run some electrical tape around it and then hook the rest of this up. All right, now we're just gonna plug the plug back in to the switch. All right, now we're gonna hook in the Brake-Lite relay into the harness. It will only go one way, so don't worry about plugging it in wrong. It is sort of a tight fit too. All right, now we're just gonna hook up the ground and then run the 12 volt out to the fuse box. All right, we're gonna be working with the white wire now, the ground right here. Either of these two areas, those are factory grounding areas. But I want to let you know something. The ring terminal that it comes with does not fit them. So I took a round file and I just kept turning it because, wouldn't you know, all the ones for the blue color are smaller than I have. But I got it so that it will actually fit on it and go down. All right, so we're just going to crimp on the ring terminal. That's good and solid. All right, that's done. To get out to the fuse box, we need to go through the firewall. Seeing how this is an automatic though, I don't need to drill a hole because right there to the left of the brake is where the clutch would go if this was a manual. So I'm going to poke the wire right through there and out to the fuse box.
And here it comes through the grommet. Okay, babe, I'll pull it.
I'm gonna put a blue butt connector on the wire going out to the fuse box. Then the other end of the butt connector is going to go to the red wire coming from the harness. All right, throw some electrical tape around that and then hook it up in the fuse box.
So we put our wire in some loom just to make it look tidy and to give it some little additional protection.
All right, so we ran it out of the grommet, came along, followed along this wiring harness, zip tied it, came down along here, and we're going to enter into the fuse box here. Now the problem being, right here where we come in, it's not interfering with the fuses at all, but the cover, it is interfering with it. As it comes down, it's trying to close on that. So I'm gonna cut a notch out of this.
There.
Yeah.
Cut a little notch out of it and the wires can fit in nicely.
All right, let's hook it up now. So instead of cutting another notch and really breaking the seal here, we just drilled a hole that was big enough to get the 16 gauge wire through. And then once it's all set, we're gonna throw a little bit of caulk on there and it should stay watertight. Okay, before we forget, we wanna put our fuses back in. We wanna put them in the right way. 15 where the 15 goes. And the 10 where the 10 goes. All right, now we need to find a fuse that is live only when the key is turned on. All right, now the whole purpose of this kit that we put in is to take the brake lights off of constant power. So what we need to find now is a fuse that only has power when the key is turned on. So like you take this 20 amp here, no, that has power. That 20 doesn't. That 10 doesn't. I'm gonna turn the key on and see if that changes. All right, the key on, let's check that 10 amp now. Okay, it has power. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tap off of this one. That way there, when the key's turned on, the brake lights will work normally. And when the key is off, the brake lights won't turn on, so they will not override the blinkers coming from the RV. All right, so we're gonna need to put in this 10 amp fuse. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lay that right in here. So, measuring out a little bit of slack, I'm gonna cut it right to here. All right, so just strip the end. Twist. Insert. And then crimp it. All right, into the other side of the fuse housing. And crimp. It's lining up the way that I want it. Then on the other end, I'm going to add a female spade connector. That's nice and tight. All right, so let's pull that fuse out. This is a fuse tap. What it's going to do, the fuse that we just took off, you slip it onto the leg. Push it all the way up. And then clip it over the top. What that's going to allow us to do is put that female spade right on here and get power from it. So put this back in where it goes. Take the female spade, put it over it, locked on. Alright, so there's the fuse box. It's all wired in, it's all set to go. It's been siliconed, so it should stay watertight. Put the top on. Golden. Yay. Alright, let's button up the inside and then test it.
So there's the ground. The wires are tucked neatly away. And there is the brake relay.
Alright, so let's just button it up now. Put this in. Get in the slots. Start the screws. Good enough. Slip this in here. Push up. All right.
Back together.
Let's test it. They're on.
They're not on.
All right, let's see if they go on now. If they didn't, we're in trouble. Braking.
Yay!
Success.
Successful.
Step 4 has been completed. The braking system glitch in the Jeep Wrangler has been corrected. It will no longer overpower the signal coming from the RV. So when we're driving down the road and slowing down, trying to make a turn, people behind us aren't going to be like, hey, wasn't there blinker on? Hey, it's on again. It's off. It's on. It's off. It's on. Glitch has been fixed. We're all set as far as that goes. Now, the Jeep itself is officially a towed. There is nothing else we need to do to this to make it a towed. So why is this not the final video in the series? Well, because we still have to set up the tow bar so that we can pull it behind the RV. And that will be the next video and the final video in the series. As far as this video went, if you liked what you saw and you learned something, we'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you have a comment or a question, post it down below. And don't forget, everything that we have done to this Jeep Wrangler to convert it to a towed is in the description box below. Links to it, so you can get this stuff yourself. But until our next video, the end.